Greetings everybody, my name is Tommy the Keyblade Master and welcome to my channel. Well, Halloween is over and I didn't do anything for the month of October to really celebrate it. A lot of people talk about scary games like Five Nights at Freddy's or Resident Evil or the Castlevania series, and I didn't do any of that because I had other projects that I was working on and still working on. I'm going to be doing some Kingdom Hearts videos this week as well, and I need to finish a project on that as well. But since I do need to do at least one Halloween-themed video, even if it's the day afterwards, I decided to go back and take a look at my very first survival horror game. No, it's not Resident Evil. In fact, it's a game so scary that it'll make your eyes go around and around and around some more. It's time to look at the Atari 2600 classic, Haunted House. Alright, there is no real exposition in this game. Yes, kids, back in the good old days of the Atari 2600, we had no storylines in our game. In fact, Toad telling us that our princess was in another castle in Super Mario Bros. Was a major leap forward in video game storytelling at the time. If you want to know what's really going on in this cockamamie game, you have to look at the instruction booklet. But from what I gather, basically your guy is out to retrieve some sort of magical urn inside some old guy's house that's haunted and infested with crazy things, and you just gotta find the urn and get out. That's the basic point and premise to the game. There is no story, there is no plot, and for the most part the game doesn't need it. This might surprise you kids, but back in the day, Haunted House had some pretty decent graphics. Yes, we're just talking about simple colored walls and simple animated sprites, but at the time the fact that the ghost looks that much detailed is really groundbreaking in an Atari game. Yes, this was back in the period where a person's eyes could not be animated as round circles, they were square. So having a ghost that actually looks like that is pretty spectacular. So for the most part the graphics are good, they do their job just fine. It's not groundbreaking, especially nowadays in 1080p 60 frames per second games. But for the time in the early 80s, this was some pretty groundbreaking visuals. Alright, why don't we talk about the sound next? Now, typical to Atari 2600 games, there wasn't any real background music. You do have an ending tone whenever you beat the game. Well, that's all there is to music for the most part. I do like the sound effects that you make while you're moving around. It's kind of got this almost hypnotic sound beat as you just kind of move your character around and bump into walls. The gameplay in Haunted House is pretty simple. It is an Atari 2600 game after all. If you play it on the most basic default difficulty, beating this game in under 2 minutes can be done real simple. You basically just have to go around the house, find the urn pieces, get out. The house is fully lit. The only thing you need the candle for is to find the urn pieces because they don't appear automatically on screen. However, upping the difficulty and you can get into a really challenging game. Your hallways are no longer lit. You need to find a key in order to open doors that you cannot see. You can only see the outline of the rooms, and you can only find the pieces. It's kind of like trying to find your lost contacts in the dark, and for someone who has poor vision, let me tell you, it ain't fun. So just finding these pieces can be a real challenge. You also have enemies, and each one of them acts differently. I do believe for the most part the bats and the spiders really won't give chase, but watch out for that frickin' ghost. When it finds you, it'll home in on you and really easily do you in. On the harder difficulties, finding those 3 urn pieces and finding your way back to the beginning can be a real chore. Not only because of the dark room, but in order to carry the key, you have to drop the pieces of the urn. In order to carry the pieces of the urn, you have to drop the key. There's also a magic scepter that allows you to be invincible to enemies, but I always found that item to be worthless. While playing the game in the dark like you're seeing in this mode, the game can be pretty difficult and it can be kind of fun trying to figure out what items you need where and just navigating this maze-like hall that you really can't see that well does offer some fun and a little bit of goofy, scary hijinks. That said, Haunted House is not a hard game to beat, and it doesn't last very long. Like most games of its age, it's meant to be a mild amusement rather than any type of hardcore experience. Because of that, I can't really give the game a rating. I can't say I enjoy playing this more than Grabbed by the Ghoulies, but then only in shorter bursts. Atari's Haunted House shouldn't be too hard to find and pick up. It's available on several collections. What you're seeing here is the PS2 version, and it's pretty fun. I heard they did a complete HD remake a few years ago, and I picked up a copy off of Steam just a short while ago. I might review that sometime in the future. In the meantime, I do suggest checking out this classic if you can find a legal way to get a copy, and that shouldn't be too hard. It might take a little bit of looking, but finding a legal copy of this game shouldn't be too hard. Like I said, it's available on tons of collections. Anyways, this is Tommy the Keyblade Master, thanking you for watching this video. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them down below. I will also stick up a subscribe sign if you want to sign up for my channel. Anyways, see you next time.